back to my channel. So for today's lesson, we will going to talk about microbial in disease causation.
I really hate the cold. I don't even know how I got it.
I can help you understand that, Aaron.
Oh, hi, Sammy. I feel really miserable.
The flu has been very bad recently. Many children are sick. I guess you have an infectious disease.
What do you mean by an infectious disease?
Infectious disease are disorders that are caused by organisms, usually microscopic in size, such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites, that are passed directly or indirectly from one person to another. Humans can also become infected following exposure to an infected animal that harbors a pathogenic organism that is capable of infecting humans. Infectious disease are a leading cause of death worldwide, particularly in low-income countries, especially in young children. Three infectious diseases were ranked in the top 10 causes of death worldwide in 2016 by the World Health Organization. They are lower respiratory infections, 3.0 million deaths, diarrheal disease, 1.4 million deaths, and tuberculosis, 1.3 million deaths. HIV or AIDS, which was previously on the list, has dropped from the global list of the top 10 causes of death, 1.0 million deaths in 2016 compared with 1.5 million in 2000. But it is still a leading cause of death in low-income countries. Another infectious disease, or malaria, accounts for a top cause of death in low-income countries. Infectious disease can be caused by several different classes of pathogenic organisms, commonly called germs. These are viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and fungi. All of these organisms are microscopic in size and are often referred to as microbes or microorganisms. Although microbes can be agents of infection, most microbes do not cause disease in humans. In fact, humans are inhabited by a collection of microbes known as microbiome that plays important and beneficial roles in our bodies. The majority of agents that cause disease in humans are viruses or bacteria, although the parasite that causes malaria is notable example of a protozoan. Examples of disease caused by viruses are HIV or AIDS, influenza, Ebola, MERS, smallpox, diarrheal disease, hepatitis, and West Nile. Disease caused by bacteria include anthrax, tuberculosis, salmonella, and respiratory and diarrheal disease. Transmission of infectious disease. There are a number of different routes by which a person can become infected with an infectious agent. For some agents, humans must come in direct contact with a source of infection, such as contaminated food, water, fecal material, body fluids, or animal products. With other agents, infection can be transmitted through the air. The route of transmission of infectious agent is clearly an important factor in how quickly an infectious agent can spread through a population. An agent that can spread through the air has greater potential for infecting a large number of individuals than an agent that is spread through direct contact. Another important factor in transmission is the survival time. of the infectious agent in the environment. An agent that survives only a few seconds between a host will not be able to infect as many people as an agent that can survive in the environment for hours, days, or even longer. These factors are important consideration when evaluating the risk of potential bioterrorism agent. Impact of infectious disease on society. Infectious diseases have plagued humans throughout history, and in fact have even shaped history on some occasion. The plagues of biblical times, the Black Death of the Middle Ages, and the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 are but a few examples. The 1918 flu pandemic killed more than 500,000 people in the United States and up to 50 million people worldwide, and is thought to have played a contributing role in ending World War I. Epidemic and pandemic have always had a major social and economic impact on affected population, but in our current interconnected world, the impacts are truly global. And MERS. Consider the SARS outbreak of early 2003. This epidemic demonstrated that new infectious diseases are just a plane trip away, as air travelers rapidly spread the disease to Canada, the United States, and Europe. Even though the SARS outbreak was relatively short-lived and geographically contained, fear inspired by the epidemic led to the travel restriction and the closing of schools, stores, factories, and airports. The economic loss to Asian countries was estimated at $18 billion. Recently, a new SARS-like virus named MERS-CoV emerged in Saudi Arabia that causes Middle East Respiratory Syndrome or MERS, a severe and often fatal respiratory illness. MERS have spread to other countries in the Middle East as well as countries in Europe, Asia, and North America, including the United States. Infection occurred through direct contact, an infected animal or camel or person. But if the virus were to adapt to humans, over time, it could spread more easily from person to person. HIV or AIDS epidemic, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, illustrate that the economic and social impact of prolonged widespread infection, the disproportionate loss of the most economically productive individuals has reduced workforces and economic growth rates of affected countries, especially to those with high infectious rates. This impact the healthcare, education, and political stability of this nation. In Southern Africa, where the infection rate is highest, life expectancy has plummeted in a mere decade from 62 years in 1990 to 1995. The existence of approximately 18 million children worldwide under the age of 18 had been orphaned by HIV/AIDS highlights the impact of infectious disease on families and societies. Influenza is another recent example of an infectious disease outbreak is H1N1 influenza or swine flu pandemic that began in the spring of 2009. For the first time in long history of flu pandemic, the beginning of an outbreak were detected and spread of disease was monitored on an almost daily basis as air travelers carry it around the globe. The new H1N1 flu traveled around the world with unprecedented speed and in a few short months made its impact felt globally. Even though the disease was relatively mild for most people, some schools closed more than 700 across the United States at its peak, and a number of infected people were quarantined. Mexico suffered a great economic loss and damage to its tourism industry, and in an attempt to contain outbreak in its earlier stage,